Manchester United are not sleeping this summer. They are moving, they are planning, and the decisions being made right now will define the next 3 to 5 years of this football club. Welcome back to Emma United Analyst, the channel where we cut through the noise and give you the real picture. My name is Emma, and today we are going in deep. We are covering every major story circling Old Trafford right now, from the transfer targets to the goalkeeper situation, from the managerial question to the players leaving and the ones arriving. This is not a headlines channel, this is analysis, so stay with me, because by the end of this video you will understand exactly where Manchester United stand and what it all means. Let us start right in the middle of everything. The Morgan Rogers situation right now, one of the most significant transfer battles of the summer, is forming around a 23-year-old who plays in claret and blue. Morgan Rogers of Aston Villa has become one of the most wanted players in European football, and the situation is far more complex than people are giving it credit for. Here is what is now confirmed. Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United and Paris Saint-Germain are all considering moves for Morgan Rogers this summer. That is 4 elite clubs, 4 serious organisations, all targeting the same player. Now let us read the facts clearly. Despite signing a new long-term contract until 2031 last year, Aston Villa are expecting to face serious interest in the player. That contract has 5 years remaining, which places Rogers among the highest valued players in this transfer window. Aston Villa are in a strong position. They do not have to sell, but the clubs circling them are not going away quietly. Now, here is where it becomes very interesting for Manchester United specifically. Manchester United insiders are confident the club has already made an official approach to Aston Villa to open talks for Morgan Rogers. This is no longer a rumour at the level of speculation. This is a confirmed approach. Formal contact has been made, and there is more. Earlier this season, Morgan Rogers himself said these words: "There is no bigger team than Manchester United." That is a player telling you something, not with his feet yet, but with his words. The 23-year-old England international is reportedly willing to trade claret and blue for red, provided certain key terms are satisfied. Here is how I see this. When a player signs a long-term contract and still expresses admiration for another club so publicly, it tells you his ambitions are beyond his current situation. Villa knew what they were doing when they tied him down until 2031. They protected their asset, but now 4 of the biggest clubs in the world are at the door. Manchester United moving first with a formal approach is significant. They are not waiting, they are leading. However, do not make the mistake of calling this done. Nothing is agreed. This remains a rumour and a negotiation in early stages, but the foundation is being laid. Before we go further, if this kind of detailed breakdown is what you come here for, please hit that subscribe button right now. On Emma United Analyst, we do not chase clicks, we chase clarity. Every video on this channel is built on facts, structure and real analysis. Subscribe and join the community that wants the full picture. Now let us talk about why this Morgan Rogers story matters so much beyond the obvious. Manchester United are rebuilding. They need attacking creativity. They need energy from wide areas and between the lines. If Rogers joins a rival instead, that rival gets stronger while United stands still. The risk of losing this race is not just about missing one player. It is about the direction of the rebuild itself. The reality for the club is that they are competing in one of the most aggressive transfer markets in years. Every decision carries weight. And the Rogers situation is one of several moving parts happening simultaneously. Let us keep going. The Rashford and Barcelona situation moving to Marcus Rashford. Gary Neville, who understands this club deeply, has spoken clearly about the situation. He praised Rashford's recent form, acknowledging that the player has regained his confidence through strong performances at Barcelona. But Neville was firm and direct about what Barcelona are trying to do next. Barcelona signed Rashford on loan and included a purchase clause set at £26 million. Now they are reportedly trying to renegotiate that clause. Neville called this ridiculous, and he is right to call it that. His position is straightforward. Manchester United must stand firm. Either Barcelona pay the agreed fee of £26 million or they send Rashford back. Let me break this down for you. This is a business test for Manchester United. Barcelona are a club that have a long history of financial creativity, to put it politely. They see an opportunity to reduce a cost they already agreed to. Manchester United cannot allow that. If they accept a reduced fee, they set a precedent that they can be pushed around in negotiations. The agreed clause exists for a reason. It was signed by both parties. United must hold the line. Neville's public stance on this is not just an opinion. It is a signal to the club of what the fan base and the football community expect. Stand firm. the goalkeeper question. Now let us get into what is arguably the most important structural decision United are making this summer, the goalkeeper position. The situation is now clear. Andre Onana is heading out of Manchester United this summer, but he is currently on loan at Trabzonspor in Turkey. The goalkeeper overhaul at Old Trafford will also include the departure of current deputy Altay Bayındır. Both goalkeepers are expected to leave. There is already interest from the Turkish side Besiktas in signing Onana permanently. They are aware of his situation and are monitoring developments. But here is the key point. The evidence suggests that Senne Lammens will be Manchester United's #1 goalkeeper next season. This is the direction the club is moving in. Even if Onana returns from his loan spell and is not immediately sold, Lammens is set to be the first choice. That is a major statement. Now let us look at what is being said about Lammens from inside the club. Former Manchester United player Nicky Butt has spoken about the young goalkeeper in terms that carry serious weight. He described Lammens as one of the club's best signings in a long time. He called him calm, a top keeper. He said it is hard to believe how young he is because he plays like someone much older. Now, here is what this really means. When a figure like Nicky Butt speaks about a goalkeeper in those terms, that is not casual praise. That is a genuine endorsement from someone who has seen talent developed at this club for decades. Lammens arriving and immediately earning that kind of internal respect is a very strong signal. The decision to move on from Onana and Bayındır is not a crisis. It is a calculated reset Manchester United are building with a long-term goalkeeper in mind. That is smart recruitment if the player continues on his current trajectory. The Castello Lukeba pursuit. Let us move to the defensive line. Manchester United are currently leading the race to sign Castello Lukeba from RB Leipzig. The Belgian centre-back is a left-footed defender, which is a specific profile United have been searching for. He is young, athletic and proven at a high level in the Bundesliga and European competition. Now, the financial detail here is important. Lukeba has a release clause worth €80 million. However, Manchester United are reportedly hoping to negotiate a deal closer to €57.5 million. That is a significant gap between the two figures, and it tells you that United believe there is room to negotiate below the clause value. Let me give you my honest take on this. The fact that United are leading this race and pushing for a lower fee rather than simply triggering the clause suggests the club are being commercially smart. They understand they cannot overpay for every target. €57.5 million for a quality left-footed centre-back at his age would represent good business if the deal is structured correctly. This is one to watch very closely, the Jadon Sancho future. Jadon Sancho is still a Manchester United player on paper, but his future at Old Trafford is effectively over. Currently on loan elsewhere, his strong form has attracted attention from multiple clubs. The situation is that RB Leipzig have entered the race to sign Sancho on a permanent basis this summer. However, the front-runners for his signature at this moment remain Aston Villa and Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund is where Sancho rediscovered his best football before his time at United, so that connection makes sense. Aston Villa represents a Premier League return with a progressive club. Here is the part most people are missing. Leipzig entering the race adds competition and potentially drives the price up, which benefits Manchester United as the selling club. For United, the priority is securing a fair fee and moving on cleanly. Sancho's chapter at Old Trafford is over. What matters now is what return the club gets and whether that money feeds back into the rebuild. Casemiro replacement and the midfield rebuild. Michael Carrick has spoken openly about the midfield situation. He confirmed that discussions are ongoing about replacing Casemiro. He said these words clearly: "There is obviously discussions. It is no secret what we need going into next season." That is a manager telling you without any ambiguity that changes are coming in the centre of the pitch. Casemiro's time at Manchester United appears to be coming to an end and the club are planning for life without him. This connects directly to the pursuit of Yan Diomande from RB Leipzig. The 21-year-old Ivorian midfielder has had an impressive campaign in the Bundesliga. He combines athleticism with ball-carrying ability and a strong defensive work rate. Manchester United have opened exploratory talks with Leipzig over a potential deal, with the fee expected to be significant. Leipzig are known for commanding high fees for their top players and are not under pressure to sell. The early discussions are focused around valuations, and United are expected to advance those talks once their summer budget is confirmed and outgoings in midfield become clearer. Here is how I see this. The Diomande profile makes sense for what Carrick is building. A 4-2-3-1 system needs energy and discipline in central midfield. Diomande can carry the ball, press effectively and transition quickly. He is 21 years old, which fits the age profile United are targeting. The challenge is that Leipzig will not let him go cheaply, but if the financial gap can be bridged, this signing could anchor United's midfield for years. It is at an exploratory stage, meaning this is a rumour with substance behind it, not a done deal. The Elliot Anderson situation. Another midfield name being connected to Manchester United is Elliot Anderson of Nottingham Forest. However, the evidence here requires careful reading. No club-to-club negotiations have taken place between either Manchester United or Manchester City and Nottingham Forest over Anderson. That is confirmed. Both clubs want to get a deal done before the World Cup, anticipating that the player's price could rise significantly after that tournament. However, Nottingham Forest owner Vangelis Marinakis does not mind waiting to see if his club qualifies for the Champions League through the Europa League. If Forest secure Champions League football, he may choose to keep Anderson entirely. Let me break this down for you. This situation is fluid and uncertain. Manchester United's interest is genuine, but they are not alone, and the selling club holds significant power here. If Forest qualify for the Champions League, Anderson is almost certainly staying. United cannot count on this one. It is a rumour with multiple variables attached. Alejandro Garnacho, the emotional exit. One of the more human stories connected to Manchester United right now is the words of Alejandro Garnacho. When asked if it hurt him to leave Manchester United in the way that he did, he was honest and open. He said yes, it may have hurt because he loved that club. He talked about the journey from Spain to the academy, then to the first team, describing 4 or 5 years of amazing support from everyone, the fans, the stadium, the entire environment. He said sometimes you have to change for the good of your life and the next steps in your career. He closed by saying he only has good memories of Manchester United. Now, here is what this really means. These words tell you something important. Garnacho left, but he left with respect intact, at least from his side. There is no bitterness in those words. There is gratitude and a little pain. For Manchester United, the manner of departures matters. When players leave and still speak warmly about the club, it protects the reputation of the institution. It makes future signings feel comfortable about joining. Garnacho is now at Chelsea and his chapter at United is closed, but the relationship did not end badly. Riquelme Angulo, the emerging target here, is a name that may not be familiar to every supporter yet. Manchester United really like Independiente del Valle striker Riquelme Angulo. The club are keeping a close eye on him. He is set to leave the Ecuadorian club this summer, and a significant number of European teams are also monitoring his situation. Let me give you my honest take on this. When United are described as really liking a player, that falls into the category of genuine interest with no formal action yet taken. This is a rumour with early stages of scouting and monitoring behind it. The fact that multiple European clubs are also watching him means United will need to move decisively if they want to win that race. He is not a guaranteed arrival. He is a player on a shortlist. The Michael Carrick managerial situation. Now let us spend real time on the most important ongoing story at Manchester United, the manager question. Michael Carrick was given the job on an interim basis following the departure of Ruben Amorim in mid-January. At that moment, Manchester United were struggling, the dressing room was fractured, the domestic campaign was faltering, the situation was, in many respects, close to broken. Then Carrick took over, operating with calm authority and implementing a balanced 4-2-3-1 system. He has produced results that nobody predicted. In 10 Premier League matches under his management, Manchester United have recorded 7 wins, 2 draws and just 1 defeat. That is 23 points from a possible 30. That is a record that would place any manager among the most effective in the league over that period. The consequence of that run is profound. Manchester United are now 3rd in the Premier League. They are in a genuine position to qualify for the Champions League next season. That was not the reality when Carrick walked through the door. Key players have spoken. Amad Diallo and Brian Mbeumo have both publicly praised Carrick's man management skills. They have highlighted how his connection to the club's identity has unified the dressing room. That is not a small detail. A unified dressing room is the foundation of everything. Carrick himself has spoken multiple times about the situation. He said the goal for Manchester United is clear, to win league titles again. He said that is where we belong. He also spoke about pressure, explaining it is something he has lived with for a long time at this club. He said the expectations, the attention and the way things work at Old Trafford feel normal to him after a certain point. He said for him, the pressure does not feel as overwhelming as it may appear from the outside. On his personal future, Carrick said he understands the situation, remains focused on doing the best possible job for the club and players, and stressed the importance of having a clear plan He said whether he stays or not, he knew what to expect when he took the role and is genuinely enjoying it. Now here is where the picture gets more complex. Maurice, someone inside Manchester United, is described as a big admirer of Luis Enrique and reportedly dreams of him managing the club in the future. However, the club is very happy with Carrick's work and is continuing its internal process to decide on the next permanent manager. This means the decision is not yet made. Carrick is the overwhelming favourite based on results and internal satisfaction, but the process is still ongoing. Here is the part most people are missing. Carrick's numbers are extraordinary for an interim manager stepping into chaos. 23 points from 30 is elite-level output. The fact that players are publicly endorsing him, that the dressing room is unified, and that the club has moved from crisis to Champions League contention under his watch is a case that is almost impossible to argue against. The Luis Enrique admiration inside the club is worth noting. It tells you there is at least one voice in the hierarchy that is keeping options open. But admiration is not a contract. Results are, and right now, Carrick's results are speaking louder than any other voice in the room. The evidence suggests he is the man for this job permanently. Let us bring this all together because it is important to see the full picture, not just individual stories. Manchester United are at a genuine crossroads this summer. The pieces are moving in many directions at once. Goalkeepers are leaving and a new number one is emerging in Senne Lammens. Defenders are being targeted with Castello Lukeba leading the priority list. Midfield is being rebuilt with conversations around Diomande and Casemiro's replacement openly acknowledged. In attack, Morgan Rogers is the headline target with formal contact already made, while names like Juan Riquelme and Angulo sit in earlier stages of consideration. Outgoings include Onana, Bayindir and Sancho, who will each bring funds back into the club when deals are finalised. The Rashford situation at Barcelona must be resolved firmly, with United holding their position on the £26 million clause. And sitting above all of this is the manager decision. Michael Carrick has transformed this club in 3 months. He has earned the right to be given the job permanently. Whether the hierarchy recognises that fully is the question that every supporter is waiting to have answered. The situation is clear. This is not a Manchester United stumbling into summer without direction. This is a club with a plan, executing transfers strategically, managing its finances carefully and producing results on the pitch that are creating real optimism for next season. That is the full picture. That is the Emma United Analyst Breakdown. If you found value in this analysis, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below telling me which story from today you believe will have the biggest impact on Manchester United next season. Is it the Morgan Rogers transfer battle, the Carrick managerial decision, or the goalkeeper overhaul with Senne Lammens stepping into the number one role? Let me know. I read every comment. This is Emma. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.